is that the tribes of Joseph come to Joshua. And what's happening is Joshua and the people of Israel have gone into the promised land. And they've had victories, but they haven't completely driven out the Canaanites from the land. So at this point in time, Joseph has divided up the land for all the people, for all the tribes of Israel. And the people of Joseph have a problem with their allotment. And they say to Joshua, "You haven't given us enough. We have too many people. There's no way we can fit in this small piece of land." So they came and complained before Joshua. And what Joshua tells them is, he basically tells them to, if you are numerous, then take control of the land yourself. Go fight these people and these stronger people because you have the power to take control of that land. Don't come to me to give you something, but instead use the power and the numbers that you have to accomplish this task and gain land for yourself. So a lot of times we go to God and we ask Him for more things. We ask Him for more gifts. We ask Him, why isn't our church more spiritual? We even ask Him for more money. But what God wants us to do is to use the things that He's given us. And so instead of complaining to God, "You haven't given me all these things," use the things that God has given you and accomplish great things for Him. And it's interesting that these are the tribes of Joseph, because we had talked about in an earlier youth meeting how Joseph always took the situations that he was in and was the best of them. So when he was a slave, he was the best slave possible. When he was in prison, he was the best prisoner possible. So he made the best out of what God gave him, and we should do the same. One thing that comes to mind in my personal life, and this is just an example, it's not necessarily true, but sometimes when I'm folding clothes, I don't do a very good job. And when Sharon sees that, she thinks, "Oh, he doesn't know how to do clothes, so I'll just fold the clothes from now on." And that's actually a trick that a lot of husbands use and children use as well. So keep that in mind. So I think people do the same thing with God as well. When it comes to sin, they say, "God, I'm not strong enough to fight the sin," or they pretend like they're weaker against the sin than they truly are. Because in truth, they want to sin. And so the only way they can convince themselves that they're okay is to say, "I'm just too weak to overcome the sin." But what God says in the Bible is, "You will not be tempted more than you can handle." So God has given us the capability to overcome sin. So we can choose to pretend and say we're too weak or we don't have the ability to do this. But God has given us the power to overcome sin. And it's just like with the people of Joseph. They came to Joshua and asked for more. But Joshua said to them, "You have the power to overcome your enemies." And we too have the power to overcome our enemies. So I encourage you today to stop pretending to be weak. Stand up against sin and stand up against our spiritual enemies. Take programs in youth meeting instead of pretending like, "I don't have the ability to speak, I don't have any talents, I don't have the ability to sing." Take those programs and say, "I'm going to use what God gave me and I'm going to accomplish His will in my life." Thanks.